Las Vegas sold the image of luxury, glamour, and endless money. But behind the casino lights, organized crime found the perfect business. Before computers and modern surveillance, casinos handled massive amounts of cash every night. And for years, Mafia crews secretly removed millions of dollars before the money was ever reported to the government. They called it the Skim. Without masks or armed robberies, it was simply cash disappearing quietly from inside some of the most famous casinos in America. And by the time federal investigators understood how big the operation really was, the Mafia had already turned Las Vegas into a nationwide money machine. The casino Skim was one of the simplest and most profitable money operations ever used by organized crime. Casinos earned enormous amounts of cash every day through gambling, hotels, restaurants, and entertainment. Before modern tracking systems, most of that money moved through counting rooms by hand. That gave insiders an opportunity. Instead of stealing from vaults, Mafia-connected operators secretly removed part of the casino's cash before the profits were officially recorded. The missing money never appeared on tax reports, accounting records, or government paperwork. That hidden cash became known as the Skim. The system depended on trust, corruption, and tight control inside the casinos. Counting room employees, executives, and mob associates all played different roles in moving the money quietly out of Las Vegas and into the hands of organized crime families across the country. For organized crime, casinos were almost the perfect business. Everything revolved around cash. Millions of dollars moved through gaming floors every week, making it difficult for regulators to track exactly how much money a casino truly earned. In the early years of Las Vegas, oversight was weak, accounting systems were limited, and many casino owners had political connections that helped keep investigations away. Tourists came and went constantly, creating an endless flow of money that blended together inside crowded casinos. The Mafia also understood something important. Casinos did not only generate profits, they generated hidden profits. Once trusted insiders controlled counting rooms, management positions, or ownership interests behind the scenes, money could disappear quietly without attracting immediate attention. Mob families from Kansas City, Chicago, and Milwaukee all developed connections inside Las Vegas casinos. Some used frontmen and businessmen to hide their involvement, while others gained influence through loans connected to the Teamsters Pension Fund. By the 1970s, organized crime was no longer operating around Las Vegas. In many cases, it was operating inside it. The Skim worked because casino money moved fast, and most of it moved in cash. Step 1. The casino made huge amounts of money every day. Players lost money at blackjack tables, roulette wheels, slot machines, poker rooms, restaurants, and hotel counters. By the end of the night, the casino had piles of cash that needed to be counted. Step 2. That money went into the counting room. This was the place where employees opened cash boxes, sorted bills, counted stacks, and prepared the numbers for official records. On paper, this room was supposed to be controlled and clean. In reality, it became the perfect place to hide the theft. Step 3. Trusted insiders removed part of the cash before it was recorded. They were people placed on the payroll, protected by mob-connected bosses, or trusted enough to handle the money. They could pull cash from the count, place it into envelopes, and make sure the official total showed less than the casino truly earned. Step 4. The missing money was hidden before reporting. Fake accounting helped cover the gap. If the casino really made one amount, the books showed a smaller amount. That meant lower taxes, lower reported profits, and no clear paper trail for the government to follow. Step 5. The cash left the casino through couriers and hidden transfers. Envelopes of money could move from Las Vegas to mob families in cities like Kansas City, Chicago, and Milwaukee. The casino looked legitimate from the outside, but behind the scenes, part of the profit was already gone. That was the power of the Skim. All it needed was access, silence, and people inside the building who knew exactly where the money moved. One of the most famous examples of the Skim happened inside the Stardust Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. During the 1970s, the Stardust became heavily connected to organized crime interests tied to the Kansas City Mafia, with influence from Chicago outfit figures as well. On the surface, the casino looked like a successful entertainment empire filled with tourists, gambling tables, and celebrity performances. Behind the scenes, investigators later discovered a hidden money pipeline operating directly out of the counting room. Cash was allegedly removed before the casino's profits were officially recorded. The money would be separated during the counting process, hidden in envelopes, and quietly transported out of the property through trusted couriers. Federal investigators believed millions of dollars were skimmed from the Stardust over several years. One of the most important figures connected to the operation was Frank "Lefty" Rosenthal, a well-known sports handicapper and casino executive who helped run several Las Vegas casinos during that period. Although Rosenthal was never convicted for skimming operations at the Stardust, his connections to organized crime figures and his role inside the casino later became part of the inspiration for the movie Casino. The FBI eventually increased surveillance around the Stardust and other mob-connected casinos. Wiretaps, informants, and hidden recordings started exposing how deeply organized crime had penetrated the Las Vegas casino industry. What made the Stardust case so important was not only the missing money, it showed federal investigators that the Skim was not a small side operation. It was a nationwide organized crime system hiding inside some of the biggest casinos in America. The Argent Corporation became one of the clearest examples of how organized crime hid behind legitimate business structures in Las Vegas. Founded in the 1970s, Argent controlled multiple casinos, including the Stardust, the Fremont, the Hacienda, and the Marina. Officially, the company appeared to be a normal corporate operation run by businessmen and casino executives. But federal investigators later argued that hidden mafia interests were influencing parts of the business from behind the scenes. This structure gave organized crime an important layer of protection. Mob figures did not need to appear as official casino owners. Instead, frontmen, executives, and corporate managers handled the public side of the operation while criminal associates allegedly maintained influence in the background. The setup also helped the Skim continue more quietly. Casinos could operate like legitimate corporations, while insiders inside the counting rooms and management offices controlled how money moved and how profits were reported. Federal investigations eventually focused on Argent's connections to organized crime figures tied to Kansas City and Chicago. Surveillance operations, wiretaps, and testimony from informants helped investigators piece together how hidden ownership structures allowed mafia groups to profit from Las Vegas casinos without directly placing their names on the buildings. The Argent case showed that organized crime had evolved beyond street crews and gambling rackets. By that point, mafia influence had moved into boardrooms, corporate paperwork, and multi-million-dollar casino operations. The mafia's influence in Las Vegas did not begin inside the casinos themselves. In many cases, it started with the money used to build them. One of the biggest financial sources behind several Las Vegas casinos was the pension fund of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, one of the largest labor unions in the United States. During the 1960s and 1970s, the Teamsters Pension Fund issued massive loans for casino construction and expansion projects in Las Vegas. Officially, these were legitimate business loans, but federal investigators later uncovered connections between union officials, organized crime figures, and casino operators. Mob-connected groups understood that debt created influence. If a casino depended on Teamsters' money to survive, organized crime figures tied to those loan networks could pressure executives, influence management decisions, and gain indirect control over casino operations without appearing on ownership documents. That influence helped create the environment where skimming operations could continue for years. Federal investigations later focused heavily on Teamsters officials and organized crime leaders connected to these financial deals. Prosecutors argued that the pension fund became a gateway that allowed mafia families from cities like Chicago and Kansas City to expand their power deep into Las Vegas. The story became larger than hidden cash in counting rooms. It showed how organized crime used legitimate financial systems, corporate structures, and union connections to gain influence over an entire casino industry. For years, the Skim survived because the system depended on secrecy, loyalty, and fear. But by the late 1970s and early 1980s, federal investigators started building larger organized crime cases against mafia families connected to Las Vegas casinos. The FBI used wiretaps, hidden microphones, surveillance teams, and informants to slowly expose how the Skim operated behind casino walls. Investigators monitored phone calls, tracked money transfers, and gathered testimony from insiders who had worked inside the operations. One of the biggest breakthroughs came when federal agents connected casino skimming operations in Las Vegas to organized crime leaders in cities like Kansas City and Chicago. The money was no longer viewed as isolated theft inside casinos. Prosecutors argued it was part of a nationwide criminal enterprise. The government also increased pressure through new Nevada gaming regulations and tighter oversight from the Nevada Gaming Control Board. Casinos face stronger auditing systems, stricter licensing rules, and deeper financial investigations. At the same time, federal prosecutors began using RICO laws more aggressively against organized crime families. Instead of charging individuals for isolated crimes, investigators targeted entire criminal organizations and the network supporting them. Several mob figures, casino insiders, and associates were eventually convicted in connection with skimming operations and organized crime conspiracies tied to Las Vegas casinos. By the 1980s, the era of mafia-controlled casino skimming was beginning to collapse under federal surveillance, informants, and growing corporate control of Las Vegas. Las Vegas sold the world a fantasy of glamour, luxury, and endless money. But behind the casino lights, organized crime quietly turned some of the biggest resorts in America into hidden cash machines. The Skim worked because it blended into the system. Cash moved fast, insiders stayed loyal, and for years the missing money disappeared before anyone outside the operation could see it. Eventually, federal investigations, wiretaps, and tougher gaming regulations helped break the mafia's grip on Las Vegas casinos. Corporate ownership slowly replaced many of the old mob connections that once operated behind the scenes, but the legacy never completely disappeared. The story of the casino Skim remains one of the clearest examples of how organized crime adapted to legitimate business, using corporations, unions, casino executives, and financial systems to hide criminal operations in plain sight. And for decades, while tourists filled the casinos, searching for jackpots, the real winners were often the people quietly taking cash out the back door.